Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight for News 13 at 6. I'm Greg Lagerquist.
And I'm Kim Block. A victory tonight for a female firefighter in West Gardiner in her efforts to become the town's fire chief. And
Vicki Dill had oral surgery today. Couldn't speak with us, but plenty of other people are talking about this story. Our Brad Rogers is in West Gardiner right now. He joins us live with the details. Brad.
Kim and Greg, the town selectmen insist they did not discriminate against Vicki Dill when they didn't make her fire chief. But an investigation by the Maine Human Rights Commission found the town's arguments didn't hold water.
It's a victory for all women who are trying to advance in a traditionally male career.
41-year-old Vicki Dill is the captain and training officer here at the West Gardiner Volunteer Fire Department. But she's always wanted to be fire chief. In 2009, she got her chance when with 11 votes, the Firemen's Association elected her chief. But the 3 town selectmen gave the job not to the fireman who got 9 votes, but to the one who got only 2, breaking a 40-year tradition.
Basically, they had an internal rift and they had to choose a chief. In that 2009 decision, they chose the person who only had 2 votes because he had been chief before and was sort of a conciliatory candidate between 2 candidates.
A neutral party.
Correct.
Jonathan Brogan, who represents the town, says there was no gender discrimination. But all 5 members of the Maine Human Rights Commission found a pattern of discrimination against Vicki Dill.
There was discrimination based on sex at 3 points in time: the hiring in 2009, hiring in 2010, and hiring in 2011. And that there was also discrimination that was retaliation for her complaining to the press.
Both Vicki Dill and the town selectmen said they would like to see this issue get resolved, but there's no word from the selectmen on whether they now plan to make Vicki Dill their fire chief. But because the Human Rights Commission found she'd been discriminated against, Vicki Dill may have a pretty good case against the selectmen if they don't.
Man or woman, you should have the opportunity for, express your abilities to perform.
I think that whoever's best qualified for the position ought to have it, whether it's male or female.
All that Vicki has wanted from the beginning is a fair shot at being fire chief. She's never asked for any special treatment because she's a woman. She simply wants the opportunity to prove herself, to show that she can be a leader.
Now, the town also said that Vicki Dill's lack of ability to drive a fire engine was another significant reason why she wasn't chosen to be fire chief in 2009, 10, and 11. Only trouble is the Maine Human Rights Commission found that's not even part of the job description. Reporting live in West Gardiner, Brad Rogers, News 13. Kim, Greg, back to you.
All right, thank you, Brad.
Well, Lewiston's mayor is taking some criticism after some controversial comments that he made in an international documentary.
When you come here, you come and you accept our culture, and you leave your culture at the door.
That was Lewiston Mayor Bob McDonald during an interview in a BBC documentary, now getting a lot of reaction.
Today, Mayor McDonald spoke with our own Jana Barnello. She joins us live from Lewiston with the story. Jana.
Kim, Greg, Mayor McDonald is not backing down from his comments, and he says the backlash is uncalled for. McDonald sat down with us this afternoon to defend his position. He says he's long supported hardworking Somali immigrants and welcomes them to Lewiston. There are about 6,000 Somalians living in the city. The immigration here started about 10 years ago. McDonald says the BBC contacted him back in February for an interview about the Somali immigration to Lewiston. He says he doesn't regret what he said or how he said it, and offered this as further explanation.
When anybody comes here from any country, they have, they have to embrace our culture. Now, do they have to give up their own culture at home? No. If they want to carry on, Irish, St. Patrick's Day, the French, the Italians, everybody, they all keep their culture. But we all practice a unique culture, and that is an American culture that's been over 200 years that's been developed.
Now, some of this backlash came after the Maine Global Institute showed the documentary over the weekend. MGI has invited Mayor McDonald to come speak with them and clarify his comments in the documentary, but he says he's not going because he believes that this is a political move by former Mayor Larry Gilbert, who's on the board of MGI. And we spoke to MGI's executive director, and he says that's not the case. They just want to have a dialogue about the film, about immigration with McDonald, but McDonald says he's not going. Live in Lewiston, I'm Jana Barnello, News 13. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Jana. Now, Lewiston has a long history of controversy with city leaders taking on the immigrant population.
In 2002, you may recall a former mayor, Larry Raymond, sent a letter to around 1,000 newly arrived Somali refugees. In that letter, he asked the immigrants to stop coming to his city because of a lack of resources to deal with that influx.
That letter was seen as racist by many and a rallying cry for white supremacist groups. One of those groups put together a small hate rally, which was overshadowed by a counter-peace rally that involved more than 4,000 Lewiston residents. Police are hoping to find a suspect who made off with a Cumberland County Sheriff deputy's firearm, badge, and credit cards.
Yeah, they were all stolen in South Portland during a series of vehicle break-ins happening there. News 13's Steve Roldan is following the story live in our studio. Any leads so far, Steve?
I can tell right now the vehicle break-ins happened about 4 days ago, and the stolen items have not been recovered. And authorities are hoping to locate the stolen badge and weapon before they end up in the wrong hands. This grainy ATM photo showing the man investigators believe used a Cumberland County Sheriff deputy's stolen credit card a few hours after the deputy's gun and badge were also stolen. It happened during a series of break-ins in the Ferry Village section of South Portland early Friday morning. Cumberland County Sheriff Kevin Joyce says his deputy was a victim of a crime and that he didn't violate department procedures by leaving his firearm in a personal vehicle.
Essentially, the policy is pretty clear that you don't leave your firearm in your personal vehicle unless there's some exigent circumstances. In this particular case, his cruiser was not at his residence. He had taken some time off. He had gone up north for a little vacation, if you will. He came home. His some relatives were bringing some kids over, and he chose to leave the car locked, the gun locked up in the vehicle, as opposed to bringing it in the house.
Sheriff Joyce says it's the third time that a Cumberland County deputy has had a badge and firearm stolen. The sheriff says he's fairly concerned about what has happened and hopes that the weapon and badge are recovered sooner rather than later.
My biggest fear is to find out that a person or another cop has been killed as a result of a stolen firearm from our arsenal, if you will. You know, the other concern is when the badge, the ID, the gun are taken, if it gets in the wrong hands, does the individual who took it go out and start using that to victimize other people?
Serious concern that police are asking anyone with any information on the stolen weapons and the burglaries to contact authorities. Live in the studio, Steve Roldan, News 13. Back to you.
All right, certainly some concerns. Thanks, Steve. Well, we're following some new developments tonight in a decades-old murder case. Additional testing is revealing male DNA on clothing belonging to murder victim Sarah Cherry, but it's still not clear who that DNA belongs to. The man convicted of the crime, Dennis Deshane, has been going through a lengthy appeals process ever since he was convicted. Deshane, seen here in his most recent court appearance, continues to maintain his innocence, something investigators and prosecutors dismiss. Deshane's lawyer says he hopes the new evidence will prove he's not guilty, but he acknowledges it could backfire. Prosecutors say it's unclear what the new DNA evidence will mean at this point. Oh, DNA testing also playing a big role in another decades-old murder case. Investigators say that samples taken from Rita St. Peter match samples taken from Jay Mercier, now charged with her murder. An analyst for the state says the chance of the DNA not belonging to Mercier, about 1 in a trillion. Rita St. Peter was last seen alive the night of July 4th, 1980.
Today marks a day of remembrance for murder victims throughout the state of Maine. Governor Paul LePage, along with a family of victims and Maine State Police, came together today at the University of Maine at Augusta. Family and friends of victims were encouraged to bring a framed photograph of their loved ones and a small personal item for the memorial display table. The governor says he is working every day to make sure crimes like these don't happen.
We remember every day what has happened to you. And we want you to remember that we are doing something about it. We are working every day of our lives to eliminate this heinous crime.
The event was put on by the Maine chapter of Parents of Murdered Children.
Defense contractor General Dynamics announces a round of 80 layoffs nationwide, including 30 layoffs right here in Maine. The company notified its workers at its Saco facility on Monday. The cuts are going to happen in several departments, including engineering, manufacturing, and management. The company is citing a decline in demand for military guns, as well as completion of a work on special armor for military vehicles as reasons for the layoffs. The company says people who are losing their jobs will get a severance package. A hazmat spill forced evacuations at a Portland business this afternoon.
It happened at Nichols Portland, a manufacturing business, just after noontime. Officials say sodium hypochlorite spilled as a worker was trying to refill a cooling tower. There are no reports of any injuries. Employees were allowed back into the building by about 2:30, about 2 hours later.
Now, your Weather Authority forecast with Charlie DePresti.
Welcome back, everyone. It is another beautiful evening. Of course, that sun will be setting very shortly here, getting earlier and earlier. I'm tracking loads of sunshine later in the week, but in the near term, between now and then, we actually have some rain to talk about for a change. Let's take a look at that 3-day forecast. Tomorrow will feature a lot of clouds with scattered showers. Thursday looks great. We'll have sunny skies that day with highs again in the upper 60s. On Friday, sun will fade to increasing clouds. In fact, our next storm system will be on our doorstep by Friday evening. It's like showers arrive just in time for the weekend. I'll explain that portion of the forecast in a moment. Hey, let's look back at the good stuff first. This was our time lapse from our Raymond Skycam during the afternoon today. Notice the deep blue sky. It was a perfect day. Of course, those trees moving right along there, a little bit of a breeze. If you think today was breezy, tomorrow will be windy. We'll have wind gusts over 20 miles per hour. Of course, that up on Mount Washington right there, where air temps have been running in the 30s and 40s. Satellite radar composite tonight shows a clear sky in place, a little ribbon of clouds to our west, more clouds in the St. Lawrence Valley, and another round of clouds back into portions of Pennsylvania and moving through the Ohio Valley. And let's widen things out because it is this guy here that will be arriving here for tomorrow. The cold front is still well off to our west, and it's a slow mover. The front is still back in here, but out ahead of the front, we're going to see these clouds arrive as soon as early tomorrow morning, with some showers arriving as soon as late morning tomorrow. I don't think it's a steady rainfall tomorrow, but there will be on and off showers. I think the first round will be during the morning, and the second round will be during the evening hours. That with the passage of the front. So let's take a look at the timing of this now. Let's start off with Storm Tracker early tomorrow morning. Notice the clouds are increasing overnight. We're starting the day with temps in the 50s, some 40s for inland towns. Notice showers developing back into New Hampshire, the Connecticut River Valley. These showers should arrive for most of southern and central Maine by mid to late morning. They'll be scattered about, nothing real organized though. In fact, if you work outdoors, just bring the rain gear. You probably have some dry hours, particularly during the afternoon. So by afternoon, we're seeing a lot of clouds, 3:30 with mostly cloudy conditions, showers starting to move out. So there's that break I was telling you about. Again, it's not going to rain all day, but there will be scattered showers right through the evening hours. That with the passage of a cold front, the front should move on out, setting the stage for what looks to be a nice looking Thursday. High temps on Thursday will again make it into the 60s. So mid to upper 60s tomorrow, and as we head into Thursday, mid to upper 60s will do it again that day. Overnight lows tonight will be low 50s. I do not anticipate the colder conditions that we had last night. Remember, last night we had a frost advisory for some inland towns. Not the case tonight. Some inland areas could make in the 40s, but here in Portland, overnight lows should stop in the low 50s. The wind this evening will be out of the south around 10 miles per hour. It's going to pick up tomorrow out of the south 10 to 20 miles per hour. Again, a lot of clouds with scattered showers developing, particularly late morning and then again very late in the day. High temps tomorrow 60s to near 70 degrees. We'll clear it out on Thursday. We'll start our Friday with some sun, but clouds will increase that day. Looks like some rain arrives in 2 bursts. The first one will arrive Friday night, and the second one will arrive on Sunday. In between there, Saturday, my early thought, just a lot of clouds with a chance for showers and drizzle. Again, steadiest rain Friday night and Sunday. But hey, the weekend right now does not look great. Notice those high temps in the upper 50s.
Yuck.
I think that's going to do it for many towns on Saturday. We'll have a northeast wind, which isn't a great wind direction for us. But wouldn't you know it, we'll clear it out just in time for Monday and Tuesday. But that's the way things look on Tuesday evening. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but hey, we can't complain. We've had some great weekend weather around here, and this weekend may end up being okay at times. But right now it just looks a little iffy from time to time. Yeah, especially Sunday.
Oh, well, I'd say normally, hey, just sit inside and watch football, but that may be too depressing with the replacement refs right now.
Yeah, the entertainment factor, you have that at least.
I guess so.
All right,
I don't
thanks,
know.
Charlie.